recently saw a video where someone said that narcissists are not attracted to codependents because they are attracted to strong people. But did you know that someone who's struggling with codependent traits is actually incredibly strong? They are very capable, they're competent, they're like professional need meters. They are definitely someone you want on your team. So narcissists are very much attracted to someone with codependency, and they're really good at sort of like sniffing you out, and they're onto you before you realize that they're onto you or that you even know there is such a thing. So if you're finding that the more you learn about narcissists, the more you're seeing them pop up all in your life, whether it's at home, at your work, in romantic relationships, I'm going to give you a tip on how to almost make yourself narc proof. Hi, my name is Olivia. I'm passionate about helping you understand what relational trauma is so that you can heal from it, overcome it, and ultimately move on with your life. So today, everything is coming from my book. Most things we're going to talk about from my book, How to Stop Chasing Rejection, How to Heal Your Codependent Traits. You can find it on Amazon. I'm going to put a link in the description. So looking at some of those traits that someone with codependency has, they can be very capable of meeting other people's needs. They can also kind of on the side of the behavior that get us problems. We can be bossy, controlling, demanding, intrusive. So because we are so capable, we're kind of like cut through all that red tape and we're like, oh, well, if it was this, well, what you need to do is this. Well, if you did this, this would be better. So it's just very easy for someone with codependency to really kind of get straight to the root and take care of it and handle business. And a lot of times, someone with codependent traits, you're not asking for a lot of help. You're usually the helper because you're pretty capable and very strong, which attracts narcissists. So if we're going to continue on some of those traits that we were talking about last time, I'll leave a card to last week's video where you can go look at some more of the traits I just mentioned in depth. Some of more traits that we can struggle with when we have codependency is being afraid to be alone. So if someone has codependency, a lot of times you'll hear that that is one of their biggest fears is to end up alone. So because of this, oftentimes they will chase relationships, even though if they slowed down and looked around, they would see, oh, I'm actually really good at meeting needs. Let me try to meet my own needs. I'm actually pretty good at problem solving. Let me start taking a look at my own. But instead, because of that fear of being rejected and abandoned, which is so much rooted in codependency, we really try to attach to people, and then we'll take a lot of poor treatment, a lot of neglect, a lot of garbage before we finally get the strength to cut those ties. So that's a big one. A really common one is to fear being alone. Another one, we can be hypersensitive to especially criticism. So remember, if I am feeling like I'm going to be okay as long as you don't go anywhere, even though I'm the one doing everything, I'm doing all your part and I'm doing all my part, and somehow I'm still convinced and believing that I'm not okay without you. But if I really looked at it, it's like, oh, actually I might be better off without you because now I only have to do my stuff, not my stuff and your stuff. But someone with codependency, because we don't see that and because we're so used to that rejection and that abandonment, then what happens is any type of criticism, I take that as a rejection. Even good, constructive, positive feedback that I probably need to hear, I just cannot hear it, whether it's about cooking or it's about children or it's about, it doesn't matter. Any way, especially at work, anything that you're trying so hard, because someone with codependent traits, they go above and beyond their job to be good at whatever it is they're doing. And that really comes from that need of, I don't want to be alone. So if I make myself super valuable, you're less likely to leave me. So if you know anything about being a scapegoat, you can see where this really feeds right into these codependent traits. If you were scapegoated, let's say in childhood, then you were rejected, you were emotionally abandoned, you could have been physically abandoned, physically dismissed, taught that it's your job to carry the shame. So you can see that starts to build that foundation of being codependent right from being a young person. So you become really hypersensitive to feedback, criticism, because you're already trying so hard to do everything right so that you don't get left. So hopefully that can help you to see that hypersensitivity. Doesn't mean it's because you're weak. It doesn't mean it's because you're fragile. It just means you're already going above and beyond. So if someone has a problem, you almost panic because it's like, I'm doing everything I can already. Codependents are not people you have to like crack the whip and watch them and monitor them. You give them like a task, they're going to build the whole city. So this is why we can be kind of hypersensitive. And the last one we're going to talk about today, which is number 3, is testing. Someone who struggles with codependent traits can really test their partner. So anything they ask, any job they ask, even like, I need to talk to you, however that whatever response is met with that request, we're going to assign meaning. And if it's not like, Johnny on the spot, you're meeting me right here, right when I ask, then I'm believing you don't love me, you never loved me, and more than that, you're going to leave me. And so now here comes all my behavior. So it's really testing our partner, and the test is to see, do you love me? Can I trust you? But it just like, it doesn't stop. It's never enough. Someone who's a partner with someone who's struggling with codependency can feel like they are trying to fill a black hole. They're never going to hit the bottom. So the hole's never going to fill up because there is no bottom. So someone who's struggling with codependent traits, we have to learn how to create that bottom for ourselves by being secure with us and being willing to risk being left. But I'll get into that later on, more with videos to come. So back to the original thought of, am I just attracting all these narcissists over and over and over? And if they're not attracted to someone with codependency, then what is it? But actually, they are very much attracted to someone with codependency. And here's why. A lot of times, especially, now you can tell me in the comments, if you have been in contact with someone who has narcissistic traits, a lot of times they're not going to outright ask you for like a favor or to help them or to do something. They're not going to say, hi, would you mind coming to my house at 8 and helping me with this task? They're not going to say that. Instead, they're going to say, I'm so overwhelmed by my house. I'm so sick of my house being a mess. My house is such a mess. I just feel like my house, mess. So when you struggle with codependency, you already heard that need, and now you're feeling like it's your responsibility to meet that need. So someone with codependency is going to hear, I'm so overwhelmed with my house, and they're going to be like, well, I'll come clean it for you. I can do that for you. I'll get it for you. I'll go to the store for you. So they end up doing really what this person can and needs to be doing for themselves. That's what codependency gets us. So you're not only doing that for someone when they need to be doing it for themselves, but also you're doing it for someone who would not do it for you, not in a million years. And it's painful when you start to wake up from that. So the trick to be narc proof, and this is how narcissists are finding you out, right? Because they're throwing out the hint of what they would like, not asking. Because not only that, when you're like, I've done all this stuff for you. I cleaned your house, I ran to the bank, I fed your dog, I took your dog to the groomer. I do all this stuff for you and you never care, you don't appreciate it. And you know what their response is going to be? Hey, I never asked you to do that. And if you really think about it, then you're like, that's true. Why did I feel like you did, right? Because they're throwing out those hints, and we're in such a hurry to get that acceptance and to be valuable so we don't get left, that we miss the fact that they didn't ask. So we way overstep boundaries, but that's what they're looking for because they like to be chased. They like to control. They like to manipulate. So if they can throw out that hint and get you running, then they know who their next target is or their next actual victim is. So it's really important that you not jump in to just meet these needs. Wait to be asked, because narcissists, most of them, are not going to be vulnerable enough and ask you. They're just going to hint. So if you don't take that hint and you don't jump in with these codependent traits and try to fix everything in their life that actually doesn't even need to be fixed, they actually don't even need your help because they could do it for themselves. If you hold back and wait, they're going to move on and find someone who will take the hint and who will jump in so they don't have to be vulnerable, and then they can start all their puppeting mind games. So to be narc proof, don't just jump in, wait to be asked, because if you're dealing with the narcissist, there's a good chance they are never going to ask you. So hopefully you found this helpful. I'll leave more videos on the screen that you can go and watch to keep educating yourself on what codependent traits are, how to overcome it and move on from it, and also other videos on relational trauma. Again, the description has my link to my book, How to Stop Chasing Rejection. It's available on Amazon. Take good care, and I'll see you in the next one.